Hey guys, thanks for checking out the video. So today we're basically just going to be putting the suspension and transmission stuff back into the car like we did in the other video. So we are putting in the transfer case, the axles, the intermediate axle, buttoning it all up, and then we have two new, oh sorry about that. And then we have two new rear upper control arms, front upper control arms. And these just need tightened down and everything pretty much buttoned up on those. So a couple things we got to do, and not a whole lot. The worst part's going to be just getting the axles and everything back together. That's the worst part, trying to get them in and out. And there's that clutch line for the braided clutch line for the new slave cylinder. Remember I told you it was a little bit too long? There you can see why I said it's a little too long. It's literally hanging down here, so I'm gonna have to secure that before I get too far and put all this stuff back in, like I said. So I'm gonna start with the transfer case, work on bolting that in, and we'll start there. Alright guys, so before I get too far, I installed a new dust shield here on the transmission to cover up the flywheel to help anything flying up in there and causing damage. So this, I guess, here's the, I don't know if that's the part number or not. If anyone needs it, just comment. Well, actually, I got it from STM Tune, and that's probably where you'll find it easiest too. And it was pretty cheap, but something that you're going to want to have just so nothing flies up in there. I believe it's actually called like the inspection cover or something like that, but just 3 bolts, 3 10mm bolts to hold this thing on. But normally without this here, this would be one giant opening, and you could see the entire flywheel. And then once the transfer case goes on here, it'll cover the rest of this up. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish installing this. Well, I actually forgot that I had to remove the exhaust again. So I had to take the exhaust back off so I could move it sort of out of the way and get the transfer case in. Now there's 1, 2, let me see where all the bolts are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bolts. Another one there, and another one up in there. And I got these also from STM Tune. So brand new OEM bolts. Well, not really brand new because they've actually been installed once already. But yeah, that was my fault for not trying to start the car before putting all this together. So anyways, I'm gonna put this on now, tighten all these bolts down, then I'm gonna put that intermediate axle on. Alright, so I got the intermediate axle on and I greased it up with some high temp grease, and I cannot get the axle to slide on. It'll slide on, but it won't go over the splines the whole way and slide back into where it needs to be. So that's my next battle. I'm struggling trying to get it to work and go in the way I need it to, and so I can put the rest of this crap together. So we'll see if I can get this freaking thing in here. Like I said, I greased it up a little bit, tried everything I can to get to slide over these teeth more. I just hope something didn't get screwed up, and that's why it's not going on. Okay guys, I wish I would have filmed a little bit more, but I don't really have a camera person, and I don't really have anywhere to set my camera up. But basically, I got everything back together and got the axles in, got them attached, castle nuts on, all the suspension is tightened up, everything's ready to roll. I just bled all the brakes, and now pretty much I think I just got to put the transmission or the gear oil into the transmission and the transfer case, and throw the subframe back on, tighten all the motor mount bolts, and I think we can sit it on the ground. So we'll get to doing that. This should be fun. Alright guys, so I got all the Mitsubishi Dia-Queen. This is the SAE90. I use this in the transfer case in the rear diff, and I got half a quart in there. Basically all you gotta do is fill it up until it starts pouring out of the oil fill hole, and I'll show you where that is. It's just that plug right there. Fill it up till it's pouring out of the hole, and then you can seal it up. Now I'm going to do the transmission, and that is set up the same way. The hole for that is right there. So same thing, and I'll show you guys how I do that. Okay, so without a nice bendy funnel or one of these, you're going to have a bad time. It's going to be a bad time regardless, but having one of these definitely helps. So the all-wheel drive manual transmission takes 2.3 quarts of gear oil of the 7585 from Mitsubishi, or you can use Redline, whatever you prefer, but this is what I'm using. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to pull that plug off, and then we're going to start filling it up. Alright guys, I could be wrong, but I think I can put this thing on the ground, put the tires back on it, put it on the ground, and I'm not sure, we'll see. I think I can do it, and hopefully clutch engages and the car moves and everything's good, so here we go. Okay, so the car moved on its own power, but there was a couple weird issues. First one being those new rear control arms. Actually, you can see when I installed them, you can see how far the tires pointed. Basically, when I tried to drive down the road, I didn't really even notice it. I was just so excited to get the thing moving. But that's basically how it started out. That's how it is now. So the tires have some poke, but you can definitely see this tire is nice and straight, and this tire is way turned in. So I already adjusted it on the other side. I'm going to show you how I did that, and I'm going to do it on the other side now, which is a great thing about these new Volk control arms. Alright, so these things are awesome. All we're going to have to do is we're going to loosen this nut, and then we're going to turn this, and it's going to come back towards the center of the car. And as I turn it that direction, it's going to pull this tire inwards, and that's going to get rid of all this toe out. Okay, so now you can see, you can spin that back, spin this one away, and this will become loose. And as I twist this in this direction, it's actually going to bring the tire closer. You won't be able to see it, but as soon as I get out from under the car, you'll be like, whoa, that's kind of cool. So, probably going to have to go another turn or two. And now you can see how far it brought that tire in, just from those few turns. Probably maybe one. Actually, that might be perfect. So I'm gonna check the other side, see where the other side's sitting at, and make sure it's even with that side. And that should be it for that. And then I'll test it out and see if it still wobbles. Alright guys, I'm going to end tonight's video here. It's been a really long night, really long day. I've been working on this thing for the last probably 7 or 8 hours, so I mean, it ran on its own power. It's not wobbling like it was anymore. Definitely have to re-bleed the brakes and re-bleed the clutch. Just I think there's still some air in the lines. Something's just not right. Another thing, obviously, I couldn't drive it too far because I don't have a tag or anything on it, plus the radiator. So it's burning off a lot of the oil that's all over the car and everything, and the exhaust leak sounds awful. So I'm gonna have to figure something out with the exhaust and just do a couple things, but it sounds pretty good. The clutch feels good, the clutch grabbed good, everything seems like it's working. So it's good. It's just minor tweaks now, you know, bleeding the brakes, bleeding the clutch, and I think that's it. That's really the only sketchy thing. And we do have a boost leak. So if you saw in the video, I tried to build a little bit of boost, and it built like 2 pounds, and it cut out. And I don't think it was fuel. I think it was a boost leak. So I'm gonna go around, double check all the couplers and everything like that. But it shifts really good. You can just tell that the clutch isn't really fully engaging. I just think it needs bled better. So anyways, guys, that's it for today, and I will see you guys in the next video.